Staph aureus runs into my life every week. Staph aureus is a beautiful, tall, blue flower that we're all very familiar with, known as delphinium, or Staph's acre. And you can see its kind of sense of delicacy, sensitivity. You know, it's even compared to this flower. You know, it's so much more subtle. Even this one is much more direct, kind of out there. Yeah. As a result of it being so tall, the gardeners will tend to put it at the back of the garden because otherwise it would tower over most of the other plants. It's 2 to 3 feet tall. And so it will not stand out as one of the main flowers in the garden. And this actually represents the main feeling of the plant, which is, I am put in the back, I am scorned, and I do not get the respect I deserve. It's a bit of a metaphor for the state. It's an ancient plant that was used for healing at the time of Hippocrates. It was used then to destroy worms in people, and also for the sting of serpents. And it was considered to be a very ancient plant that caused choking and strangulation. It flowers from August until April, April till August. And the flowers are this bluish purple color, and they're distributed on both sides of the plant and on the top. And the main features of the remedy come from the alkaloid delphinia, the alkaloid in the plant, which is, the alkaloid means the chemical in the plant that is the exciting agent or has the most powerful action. And the seeds if taken, will create a very serious restless state with giddiness, convulsions, and finally death. And there's stories in the literature where, like a woman, for example, had taken just 2 seeds, she put them in her mouth for a toothache. And she really went unconscious. She was passed out unconscious and lost all memory and sensibility for an entire day. She did live. She survived the experience. But that just shows how powerful this plant is. That just putting 2 seeds in your mouth would do that. There's some aspects of the proving that fit in very beautifully with the doctrine of signatures. And one of them is symptoms worse on the left, can't sleep on the right. Symptoms going from left to right. Because the snake, when it strikes, its mandible moves from the left to the right. It shifts from left to the right. And when it swallows, all its ribs move rhythmically left to right, left to right. And all the organs are on the left side of the body. And then, of course, the throat being sensitive to slight touch or pressure. Worse clothing. Laxus hates any kind of collar, anything tight around the neck.
Herring was unable to wear a tight collar for the rest of his life after the proving. He didn't die until the 1880s, so that was almost another 60 years.
What happens when a creature like an eagle or something comes down to take the snake, or a handler grabs the snake by the neck, sometimes the snake will thrash so violently it will break its own neck to get away. Cannot stand that idea of being handled or suppression of any sort, and that's a real key note for lachesis. Any kind of suppression, any kind of being held down.
Almost all lachesis patients will have an aversion to collars and an intolerance to even jewelry, light jewelry or a chain about the neck.
Another doctrine of signatures characteristic is that the person who needs this remedy will have be worse empty swallowing and better swallowing food, solids.
Probably the most powerful homeopathic remedy made. And it's so intense. Many people have had lifelong aggravations from taking too much lachesis. And therefore, we only use it in people where there's a lot of intensity involved in the case. You'll see this intensity is there all the way through. You give it to something that doesn't match that intensity, it doesn't act, it doesn't vibrate at that level.
So there's something about the snake that dives deep into the subconscious. There's something more to be said about the snake. It defies rationality, it defies science, and it defies logical explanation. There's something terrifying about the snake. Really, that's kind of almost universal. People have this sense of terror about it. It's venomous. It's something about being on the ground, the movement, the undulating movement, it's described. The fact that it strikes to kill. It strikes suddenly and it strikes to kill, or it squeezes the life out of its victim.